A long, long time ago, in the year 43 CE, the Roman Empire was huge. It covered many lands like Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. The Romans wanted more land, so they looked at Britain, a place they hadn't conquered yet. Emperor Claudius was the leader of the Romans in 43 CE. He wanted to conquer Britain to make the empire even bigger. He sent a big army of over 40,000 soldiers, led by a general named Aulus Plautius, to sail across the sea and take over Britain. When the Roman soldiers arrived in Britain, they met strong warriors from the British tribes. Two leaders, Caratacus and Togodumnus, from the Cacciavalorni tribe, tried to stop them. The battle was tough, but the Roman soldiers were well trained, and their 40,000 soldiers had better weapons, so they started to win. After months of fighting, the Romans captured the capital of the Cacciavalorni tribe. Emperor Claudius came to Britain himself to see his victory. Riding an elephant, he declared Britain a part of the Roman Empire in the year 43 CE. It was a big moment for the Romans. Now that the Romans ruled Britain, they started building things like roads, towns, and forts. They brought new ideas and ways of living. But some people in Britain didn't like this, and there were fights. One famous fighter was Queen Boudica, who led a big rebellion later on. In the year 60 CE, Queen Boudica, the brave leader of the Iceni tribe, gathered an army of thousands of warriors to fight the Romans. Her army attacked Roman towns, including Londinium, which we now call London, burning the city. But even with so many fighters, Boudica's army lost to the well-trained Roman soldiers. After Boudica's rebellion, there was a time of peace in Britain called Pax Romana, meaning Roman peace. This peace lasted for many years. The Romans built many new things like bathhouses, temples, and markets. Life became calm, and people started to trade and live peacefully in the towns. In the north of Britain, there were tribes called the Picts. They didn't want to be ruled by the Romans and often tried to attack them. So, in the year 122 CE, Emperor Hadrian told his soldiers to build a big wall, called Hadrian's Wall, to keep the Picts out and protect Roman Britain. Hadrian's Wall became a busy place. Roman soldiers, around 15,000 of them, guarded the wall, while people traded and lived in small communities nearby. But the Picts kept trying to break through and fight the Romans. By the 4th century, around the 300 CE, a new religion called Christianity started to spread across the Roman Empire, even in Britain. Roman temples were turned into churches, and many people began to follow the Christian faith, changing the way people lived and worshipped. By the 5th century, the Roman Empire was getting weaker. Other tribes, like the Visigoths and Vandals, were attacking Roman lands in Europe. The empire had too many enemies to fight and couldn't protect faraway places like Britain. The Romans were in trouble. In the year 10 CE, the Roman Emperor Honorius made a hard choice. He told all the Roman soldiers in Britain to come back to Rome to help defend the empire. The Roman soldiers, who had protected Britain for hundreds of years, left. The people in Roman towns were now on their own. After the Romans left in 10 CE, Britain was left unprotected. New groups, like the Saxons, came to settle and fight for control of the land. The Roman time in Britain had ended, but the Romans left behind many things, like roads and buildings, that people still used for many years. The Romans may have left Britain, but their influence stayed. The roads, cities, and even the name Britain came from the Romans. The way they built things and their laws shaped Britain for a long time. And that's the end of the Roman story in Britain. From when Claudius conquered the land in 43 CE to when Hadrian's Wall was built in 122 CE, and finally to the Romans leaving in 410 CE, the Romans left a big mark on this island. Even though the Roman Empire left, their influence would last for many, many years. When the Roman soldiers left Britain in 410 CE, a new time began. The Saxons, Angles, and Jutes arrived and started to build new kingdoms. It was the start of early medieval Britain, full of kings, warriors, and new adventures. Be sure to join us for the next chapter of Britain's story as we explore this exciting time. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos on the history of Britain and many other untold histories of the world.